President Biden will be speaking at the NATO summit in about an hour and a half. It follows weeks of concern within the Democratic Party about his fitness for re-election. And thanks a lot for joining us tonight at 5 o'clock. I'm Mike Dardis.
And good evening to you. I'm Cherie Pillot. So heading into last month's debate, a poll by The Economist had President Biden and former President Trump neck and neck there. This week, the same group has Trump leading by 3%.
As perhaps a sign of things to come, The Economist also comparing Trump and current Vice President Kamala Harris. Donald Trump polling 4% better than she did, but the poll that's getting a lot of talk, the Ipsos poll in the Washington Post, showing that Harris would lead Trump by a couple of points.
So in that same poll, Donald Trump led Biden. WLWT News 5's Curtis Fuller is live tonight with the latest reaction from Democrats in our area. Hi there, Curtis.
Hi there, Mike and Cherie. You know, we went out and talked to some folks in the community to see what they have to say. Greg Landsman, by the way, is the latest Democrat to express some concern about whether or not Joe Biden should stay in the race. Surprisingly, he said this comes after he heard what George Clooney had to say about this whole issue. Landsman also says he wants to hear from voters in his district and throughout Ohio, and that's what we decided to do as well.
I'm very much for let the voters decide.
The president has said he believes the voters will still have his back in the end, and he is going forward with his campaign for re-election, despite some reservations by some in his party.
I had hoped, and still do to some extent, that he can go out and make the case that Donald Trump is unfit to be president, but I think that's becoming more and more less likely.
I spoke with several voters who were not shy about where they stand on the drama swirling around a decision that so far Joe Biden has already made.
It concerns me. He's older than me, but not by much.
Kat Combrick says she's still on the fence.
Because I have trusted him and believed in him, voted for him, I really want to give him that opportunity to prove himself. And so I would like him not to step down at this time, but there may be a time.
He's doing his job, whether you like the way he's doing it or not. And if you think he should be replaced, then I guess when it's time to vote or whatever, then just do whatever you can do.
Reagan Krall is a first-time voter.
I would really love to have a candidate younger, and so does everyone else, I think. But this is all we have, so we have to work with what we got. And I think if the Democrats do want a chance at winning, they might have to look at other options.
And keep in mind, Reagan Krall is 17 and will be 18 by the time November rolls around. This is the first time she's voted and has very good comments. But I tell you, in listening to people, you hear that a lot of people are still on the fence on this issue. I should also point out that Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear had made some comments today regarding this. He said today that the president needs to reassure not just Democrats, but all Americans that he can still do this job. Reporting live, I'm Curtis Fuller, WLWT News 5.